Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 9, Trustee Training with Dr. Bay. Definitely happy and thankful that Dr. Bay could come our way and share some of his wisdom and knowledge our way. So, definitely going to be going over some things and really thankful for him to be joining us on this episode. This is Trust Christian in the Vault. We always say own nothing, control everything. And so that's a very important line when you building or preserving or protecting what you call wealth. So today's episode is episode 9, and this is where, we got to talk about some things that we may have not talked about yet. And one of the things we didn't talk about yet, or we haven't really embellished on, which would be uniting with things that are anti yourself. So this is a big deal. Some people may not put a lot of emphasis on it. This is one of those things. Oh, I didn't even know I could unite with something anti myself. So a lot of people may say, what's anti myself? So we're gonna have that conversation because it's almost saying you're saying self sabotaging activity. What are you doing to hinder yourself? What does somebody do to hinder themselves? Well, let's start out with a very important element because you are a vitamin and mineral. People eat vitamins and minerals to supplement, but if your body's a vitamin and mineral and it needs the nutrients, okay. So if your body needs these nutrients, what are you uniting with in your health? So Dr. Bay, thank you for joining us. You could even tell us about your medical background, medical history, what you want to tell us about that. And then you took a holistic approach. Have you always taken a holistic approach, or was it one of those things that you stopped for a period? Okay. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add to that? Is it hard to grow your own food, Dr. Bay? Okay. So if you have to replant it, it's not real. So okay. Oh, very true.
It's not real food.
It's not real
Real
food.
food. No, it's not strong enough to reproduce itself. How can it reproduce you properly?
Right.
In other words, you got to plant it every year. It can't reproduce itself.
Hmm. So plants that cannot reproduce themselves on their own. Is there any plants that do? So you're saying the ones that you have to plant are mutants and
Right,
replant every year and toil the soil.
right.
What if we just got to a
We
stage of
live off.
development where we needed to grow more food, so we learned how to find what the seed is, extract it, and make more food, and then we actually have the DNA of the original food. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts on that is that, say it again because I got to make sure that
So let's
we're
just say
saying something.
man, we don't want to say what specific man, but man as a whole race says, hey, look, we want to get to the plants seed so we can reproduce more plants faster because there's so many people on the planet.
Okay, but most of the systems have done the reverse. They've even removed seeds from the plant so you can't reproduce.
Good point. Good point. But okay. Okay. Hmm. So does that mean humans won't reproduce because the food they're eating is not reproducing? It's on its own?
Do I mean what now?
Do you think that that's the reason why humans are in the position they're in is because the food they're eating?
Humans are not doing what?
I said, do you think humans are in the position they're in because of the food they're eating?
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm wanting you to share more about that.
Well, anytime anything don't get what it needs, it does not produce itself the way it's supposed to. And so, if you understand that, one of the things I discuss a lot of times, and I probably asked you and I asked a lot of people, what's the most powerful color in the world?
It's brown.
Exactly right, brown. Because every leaf on every tree, when it falls on the ground, it turns brown. Every plant that's on the ground, when it changes seasons, it turns brown too. Everything you eat, if you let it lay around, it's going to turn brown. And brown is the fertilizing element that fertilizes the ground. And so all of the forests and jungles and all, there ain't nobody uh, fertilizing it. It's the ground that's brown that's doing it. And so everything is living because of the color brown. That's plants or animals. So if we understand that things need to reproduce itself, there's nothing that is not divinely designed to reproduce itself. Else it wouldn't be on Earth. I could have been here hundreds of thousands of millions of years if it didn't reproduce itself. Because most of that time we didn't plant anything.
Okay. I'm just saying, okay. Now, it seems like food is more of a delicacy than it is actually a necessity. But it's a necessity, Dr. Bay, for sure.
It's a necessity.
You said, what's a necessity?
No, I say it is a necessity.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, when we talk about uniting with things, what are some of the healthy things we can, quote unquote, benefit from or that nature?
Well, anything that grows naturally on its own, you can benefit from to some degree. Of course, I do things that show people how to what plants are the most potent, but that's not something I get into in a conversation like this. If they want that information, they need to get in touch with you, and you can lead them through it.
Definitely. Okay. And so, their health. What else would you say they need to unify with or unite with? What would you say in the health so you're not, uh, so you're in alignment, so you're in harmony with yourself?
There are basically three things that deal with your health: your thoughts, It causes you to consume what you consume as a nutrition, and your physical exercise that causes you to maintain the physical muscular structure that you do as a human. So you need to think the right thoughts that's going to cause you to do the right things that's going to cause you to maintain your health. Most people that are sick because they are consuming things that are anti them. In other words, I can take myself. There are 6 reasons for health changes or challenges. And those 6 things involves your thoughts. Number one, then what your family has consumed and caused them to have various health challenges. If you go to a doctor, they may ask, does this run in your family? Then there's an accident, or injury, I should say, more so than an accident. So the injury could have been on purpose. Somebody could have stabbed you, cut you, or ran into you, or knocked you down, but you got injured. And then there are um, 3 other areas. One is what you take through your digestive system. In other words, what you put in your mouth
Mm-hmm.
and chew on, and making sure that that is the right thing and it has the right nutrients to make that gives you every vitamin, mineral, cell salt, or electrolyte that the body needs. Then there is also the skin. It's the largest organ you have, and many of us don't understand that you're not supposed to block the skin from breathing and taking in air like your skin was designed to do. Your breath goes through 3 areas of your body. It can go in your mouth, your nose, and your skin. All 3 of them breathe. And so you need to be concerned and aware of the environment that you're in. That's the reason they talk about cigarette smoking, and even if you're not smoking yourself, but you're in that environment, it's going to affect you. So
Okay.
we got to realize that you can live weeks without eating. You can even live days without drinking. You can't live an hour without breathing because you got 3 systems in your body that is breathing. And the 2 largest areas that are breathing is your nostrils and your physical body.
Well, definitely, Dr. Bay, appreciate you for stating that. And it's very important to talk about when we're talking about anti yourself and uniting. So let's talk about now. Anything else you want to add on the health?
Well, I could go on for weeks on the health, but people, and just like I say, if they really want to know more, they can get in touch with you, and you can get them in touch with me to know more.
Okay, feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. We get a lot of inquiries, so we always appreciate everybody to reach out, especially on the back end. So definitely feel free to hit the like and subscribe. We know a ton of people are going to listen to this episode, so thank you. One of the biggest things, most important things is, hey, Dr. Bay, how do you unite with yourself financially?
Well, we got to understand that financially is a process of thinking, and I call that process of thinking sell. You got to sell yourself on what you need to do to service other people. Because whoever services the most other people or sells the most other people make the most money. And it's really as simple as that. Now, whether what you're selling them is good for them or not is another story. But from a money earning standpoint, whoever serves or sells the most makes the most. And some people feel like they're not good at selling. Don't understand it because that means they sold themselves that they ain't good at something that everybody does. Because all of your activities basically come from what you sold yourself on doing or not doing, or being or not being, or consuming or not consuming, or understanding or not understanding.
All right. Well, we're gonna leave that at that. So, uh, how do you unite with good investments if you're an investor? This is not financial advice or legal advice, but how do you unite with things that are yourself, Dr. Bay? When you invest in, sometimes things might be anti yourself, right?
Well, yes, it could be.
Okay, so that's rather important.
Knowingly or unknowingly, you need to get where you know whether the investment is pro you or anti you. And it's true about every aspect of your life, whether it's food or clothing or where you live or where you go and all the things.
Okay, let's hop on over to another important part of it, Dr. Bay. Uniting with the wisdom, not just the knowledge, but doing the knowledge. How do you unite with How do you unite with the right wisdom if you don't know what you don't know? So how do you know? How do you get to know?
Well, one of the major things I say is think and not necessarily go to these lie theories and find out what's lying that's buried there and regurgitate it, but to think and then do and see if what you thought and did rings true with what you thought it was going to do.
All right. Okay. So you say you gotta think. Then what?
Do.
Do. Okay. So there's never really a right or wrong way. You just gotta do it.
Well, there's a right or wrong way, and spiritually, many things will tell you automatically whether they're right or wrong. Whether I've never smoked a cigarette or even drank a beer in my life, but I did taste the beer, and
How
I
you
can
gonna
tell
say
from
you
the
never
taste
drank
of
a
it.
beer and you tasted it? What's the difference? You tasted a beer is the
I
same
put
thing.
I put it on my. I never drank a beer, but I did taste it.
All right.
To me, to drink a beer is to drink a can or a bottle of beer. To taste something is just to put it in your mouth and do like I did, spit it out.
Already.
Your taste buds, your taste buds don't have you to take it down your throat. They're in your mouth,
Okay. So once again, you tasted it. Okay.
but it didn't taste right, and I didn't do it no more.
Okay. So the wisdom.
Ever again.
Talk to us about uniting with the wisdom, or what's anti yourself wisdom.
So there's so many categories that could fall into till you know that would take a long time to really. It's not a da 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 type situation. Um, there's so many things anti you because you need to understand core energies or what something is made up of or cause something to be?
Is working for somebody anti yourself?
Good question.
Is working a
Um,
job anti yourself?
it's a good question. I personally feel like it is, but here again, I wouldn't say, uh, depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it and why you're doing it that way, too. But in general, I feel like we've been programmed to go to school so you can get a good education, so you can get a good job. And in our case, as be the last hired and the first fired, and people dictate to tell you what to do, and I don't think that's good or beneficial to you.
Okay. So, is your network, do you think this the cliche saying your network is your net worth? Or it can be your net worth?
I'm not familiar with the statement, but
Would you say you build your network off your net worth off of your network?
it sounds accurate. I'm not sure about that, but I do know um, many things is involved in your net worth. And over the years, most of the things are your family tree. It's in more recent and modern times, it's people building their own net worth. But before that, it was whatever country, when they were going around and taking over people's land, they claimed it in the name of England, France, Spain, Portugal, whatever it is. And the area was not individualized, but nationwide.
Well, we're here, Dr. Bay. We're here to go over some very important information, making sure people know the difference possibly between anti yourself activities, anti yourself thoughts, anti yourself financial practices. Is savings finance?
Anytime you do,
Go ahead.
anytime you do something that's not good, or join an organization, or practice anything that's not good for you, it's anti you.
It's what?
It, it's anti you,
Anti you. Okay.
and and people don't realize that just joining something that is anti them can cause them to have major challenges, individually and collectively.
Hmm.
It's why I've said to people that is, well, I used to laugh when I was a kid at what my older sister and aunt used to say about the political parties. And at the time they said it, I didn't really know whether they were accurate or not. But since then, I totally see why they said it and why it was so accurate. They used to say that if you're a Democrat and you're black, you're colored or Negro or whatever you call it. They used to call us colored back then. If you're colored, then you're a Democrat. And if you're a Democrat and you're white, you're a Democrat. And I didn't understand that, but as I looked into that, I could agree with that. I'm going to join a party that over 300,000 of them gave their lives to keep me as a slave, and then set up the Ku Klux Klan, the Jim Crow law, the Dixiecrat, and all of the things that they done against us. To join that, it makes me a Democrat. And the people that was doing it to me, certainly they're a Democrat.
Well, Here we have it. So trustee training this week is making sure you unite with things that are for you all, for your causes, for your dreams, for your goals. Because if we could easily sit here
Right.
and tell you that there are things that you can do that may not be yourself, and it's anti.
Absolutely. And it includes the food you eat.
The food.
You must remember everything starts out a certain way. And you don't care how many times you plant a watermelon seed, it's going to produce a watermelon. Because the core energy of the watermelon is in the seed, along with where you plant it. And it includes the temperature and the area of the world and how long it stays at that temperature and a whole bunch of other things.
It's very important for people to know about DNA of the plant by having the seed. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Feel free to hit the like or subscribe button. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, hits the like and the subscribe button. Anybody else that reaches out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We do our best to bring you more of these type of episodes with Dr. Bay, where we're going over free trustee training, because that's where Dr. Bay's at with us right now in trustee training. And we just had to bring him over there. You guys can ask him questions and things of that nature. I look forward to connecting with you all for sure. Um, Dr. Bay, I would definitely want to highlight the finance because we went over it where it's okay, the job is not necessarily slavery. At the same time, what makes these things slavery esque? What makes something when you have a business, can you still be a slave?
Well, depending on your definition of a slave.
Well, I'm asking you based off your definition.
Well, to me, a slave is someone who's being dictated to by others and controlled by others. Um, and so aspects of a business could be dictated by others. However, in most businesses, what you do is set up a target market and who you're going to target and do things for. Although most businesses these days do things against people.
Hmm.
I didn't say most, but I'll say many.
What makes you say that, or for what purpose do you think they do that?
Well, if I go in a store, I'm not going to buy alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, or anything. And all of it against people. Anytime the government has to approve a product or a service, that means something in its anti-you at its core. And they know it.
But the government pretty much had to approve a lot of stuff, right, Dr. Bay? I mean, what are we doing here? What do you mean? Anytime the government has to approve things, they have to approve things quite a bit. So, what are you name
Yes,
something that they don't have
quite
to
a
approve?
bit is anti. And most things that the government don't have to approve corn or cabbage or beans or beets or apples or oranges or tangerines or grapefruit or blueberries and on and on it goes.
Okay.
But they may have to approve nicotine and alcohol, uh, various types of drugs, other types, marijuana, and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, you said they had to approve it, but they had to approve a lot of things.
Sure, they do. They didn't have to, but they do, based on whether they know something in it is at its core anti-you.
Okay, so you're saying the government knows.
Sure, in most cases.
So, okay, so you think most of these things are anti you.
Most of what's things, yes. There's
Okay.
a whole tons of things anti you.
Is the air anti you? Because there's spraying going on in the air and lots going on in the air.
Sure, it can be, but you breathe is extremely important.
Right, because you're breathing in through your skin, through your nose, and your mouth.
Yeah. No, it could be a lipstick. It could be deodorant. It could be a whole bunch of things that's anti you.
Oh, wow. Right. A lot of things can be anti you. So the whole goal is to stop doing things that's anti you.
Well, we're doing it knowingly or unknowingly. We do things anti us both.
Okay. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning live, listen replay. Feel free to hit the like button. We haven't done an episode with Dr. Bay in a while. We want to do this episode. It definitely took a shape of its own. Appreciate Melrose, New York, Bronx for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate, what is this? Melrose, Bronx. So appreciate you all. Once again, this is the Vault episode 9 with Dr. Bay. Uh, this is Trustee Training with Dr. Bay, and just want to thank you all for listening. This is one of those episodes definitely going to be able to pull a lot of value out of and continue rolling. So, thank you all for everything that you've ever done. Listening to the Vault, we are going into a new year. We got a bunch of things going on the calendar next year so far. We got something coming up with Dr. Bay. Really excited about that and bringing it your way, and then we're going to keep going along. And so, definitely feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all. When we talk about anti yourself, make it a point to unite with things that are for you. And you're not saying go off your feelings. We're saying go off what you know, think, or feel is what you want to do or be around. So we look forward to hearing from you all going into next year or even this week. We actually got some calls with trustees, so we're really thankful that we still got calls towards the end of the year here, doing our best to put value out there, and that's where we're at. And so, thank you all for continuously just listening and having another year of success in everything that you're doing, and so much more. Dr. Bay, you got any? You got any parting words, Dr. Bay, for the audience, the listening audience, to let them know why they should reach out to Christian at
Well,
trustchristian.com?
the only thing can say is that there are some things that if they do, they'll know. And if you know, you can grow because you can stop doing the things that are against you and start doing the things that are for you.
Very true. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Dr. Bay always says this. He says, well, you can't solve a problem or you're not able to solve a problem that you don't know you have the problem. So we just wanted to address that in the episode so you can know, okay, I can address this, which is what am I doing that is what is the definition of anti yourself, Dr. Bay?
Anything that is against you mentally, physically, economically,
It does what?
anything that goes against
Goes
your
against
growth,
your growth.
mentally, physically, and economically.
Economically?
Yes,
Okay. What about emotionally?
your emotions are tied to all of those.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you, Dr. Bay, for doing this episode. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that types into the chat. Where they're listening from. Feel free to connect with Dr. Bay, Christian at trustchristian.com, so you all can get connected with such an awesome individual like we are. We look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and blessings and everything else. So look forward to hearing from you all. Feel free to reach out once again, Christian at trustchristian.com, and we will go forward from there. Peace and joy.
Peace and blessings.